Dear teachers, welcome to JS in English Learning. We are with Unit 2 of the revised PGTRB syllabus, and we are discussing Jonathan Swift's famous work, Gulliver's Travels. Before getting into the work, let's get to know the author, and then we will get back to the introduction to the work, and we will get into the 4 books of Gulliver's Travels. Now, the author, Gulliver, the author of... teachers, kindly keep your mics muted. See, there is a lot of disturbance there. Right. Now, that's good. We will go with the author introduction. The author of this particular novel is Jonathan Swift. Who was Jonathan Swift? Jonathan Swift was a Irish-born English writer. Is an Irish-born English writer, and he was the son of an English lawyer. Okay, he was the son of an English lawyer, Jonathan Swift, the elder, and this man was born in Dublin. That's why we say Dublin born. Okay, he was born in Dublin on November 30th, 1667. And he became very famous with this work titled Gulliver's Travels. And then come to the important information. In 1694, he took holy orders in the Church of Ireland and then spent a year as a country parson. He became a priest. And when we say taking religious orders, which means he became a priest. Okay, and then he worked in the countryside as a pastor, and then he wrote a very famous novel. It's called A Tale of the Tub, which supports the position of the Anglican Church. And then he started becoming a pamphleteer. Who is a pamphleteer, teachers? Pamphleteer, one who writes pamphlets. Pamphlets abdina tundu prasuram. Chinna chinnada papers la there are parties which write slogans, right? Which present their ideas in simple format to common people. Such people who write those pamphlets, okay, எழுதுவாங்களே தமிழக அரசே தமிழக அரசே, okay, பெண்களுக்கு எதிரான அநீதிகளை தட்டி கேள், கண் விழித்துக்கொள் அப்படின்லாம் அந்த துண்டு பிரச்சுரம் எழுதுவாங்கல்ல, அந்த மாதிரி எழுதுறவங்க பேர் தான் pamphleteer. And he started writing political pamphlets in favor of a party called Whig Party. You know what was the condition of England? In England, there were 2 parties. One was Whig Party, the other one was Tory Party. Okay, are you there, teachers? So initially, he started as a political propagandist of the Whig Party, but later he became a member of the Tory Party. Whig Party irundhu கட்சி தாவல் Tory Party க்கு தாண்டினாரு. But unfortunately, the Tory government fell out of power in 1914. இவர் எதிர்பார்த்தது என்ன அப்படின்னா, அந்த பார்ட்டி வந்து பவர்ல இருக்கும் அப்படின்னு நினைச்சு அவர் என்ன பண்ணாரு? He went to the Tory party, but Tory party fell, because of which, okay, he was very much disturbed. And then you find that he became a very good friend of Alexander Pope. Okay, he became a very good friend of Alexander Pope, and he, along with Alexander Pope, started a club called the Scribblers Club. We have already discussed the Scribblers Club in detail. For detailed description of the club, Scribblers Club, you can visit the playlist of JSN English Learning. Anga ungalku ella details me kuduthirukku, who are the other members, what are the major contributions of that particular club abdin kuduthirukku. Did you get that, teachers?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then we are getting into the background information of this particular novel. Now, before that, inge poiduvom. What is the literary period in which Gulliver's Travels was written? It was written during Augustan period. You know who is the famous writer of the Augustan period? Very famous writer.
Alexander Pope.
Alexander Pope was a famous. Why was the period called Augustan? இதெல்லாமே ரொம்ப ஃபேமஸான கொஸ்டின்ஸ், ரொம்ப பாப்புலரான கொஸ்டின்ஸ். Why was the period named as Augustan period, also known as the period of Alexander Pope, age of Pope அப்படிம்பாங்க? Why was it called Augustan? Because are you there giving me answer? Somebody can make an attempt. Because the writers of this particular period, okay, in English history, those writers, they strived to imitate the writing style of the Augustan writers of the Roman period. Augustus Caesar வாழ்ந்த காலத்தில் இருந்த ரோமன் ரைட்டர்ஸ் எழுதின மாதிரியே இந்த இங்கிலீஷ் ரைட்டர்ஸும் எழுத முயற்சி செய்தார்கள். They wanted to imitate the writing style of the Augustan classical writers. That is why these writers were called Augustan writers. And these writers are also part of neoclassical tradition. Neoclassical writers ன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க இல்லையா, அந்த ட்ரெடிஷன்ல வரக்கூடியவங்க தான் Augustan writers also. And then this particular novel falls under a category called satire. What do you mean by satire? What information do we have about satire, teachers? What is this form called a satire? What does a satire do? It uses humor.
Silly people.
Yeah, it uses humor to attack a person. Okay. And you find it attacks a person or an idea or a behavior because it is very, very bad or silly. உங்களை பொறுத்த மட்டும் அது வந்து ரொம்ப பேட் அல்லது சில்லி. அதெல்லாம் என்ன பண்றீங்க? You are trying to use humor in order to attack the person. That's something which is very, very silly. அந்த மாதிரி நிறைய சில்லியான இன்ஃபர்மேஷன்ஸ் இந்த நாவல்ல அப்படியே என்ன பண்ணியிருப்பாரு, பயங்கர சிரிப்பு ஊட்டுற மாதிரி நமக்கு வந்து அட்டாக் பண்ணியிருப்பாரு. Now, Gulliver Travel, what does it satirize? It satirizes travel narratives. It satirizes the political happenings in England. It satirizes the colonial mindset of the English people. It satirizes the imperialism of the English world. Right? And what point of view is used in this novel? என்ன point of view யூஸ் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க அப்படின்னு கேட்டீங்கன்னா, it has used first person point of view. First person, because it's the protagonist who is narrating his own story. ரொம்ப இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங்கா, this novel, when was it published? Any information regarding the teachers? It's here. ரொம்ப பெருசாலாம் நம்ம பயப்பட வேண்டியதில்லை. It's given here. It was first published in 1726 with the name Gulliver. What is it? Lemuel Gulliver. First Swift இதை publish பண்ணும்போது என்ன பண்ணாரு? In the first edition, he published this book with a pseudonym, not with his original name. தன்னோட நேமை மென்ஷன் பண்ணவே இல்லை. ஜானத்தன் ஸ்விஃப்ட் அப்படின்னு மென்ஷன் பண்ணாம he published this book with the pseudonym Lemuel Gulliver. And Lemuel Gulliver is the protagonist of this particular fiction. And later, in the subsequent edition, because of the popularity, he published it with his own name. Are you there, teachers? What is the full title? The full title of this fiction is Gulliver's Travels, or Travels into Several Remote Nations of the World, in 4 parts. This is a full title. Gulliver Travel உடைய full title என்ன அப்படின்னா, Travels into Several Remote Nations. A remote nation in the sense, there is a possibility that these nations which are discussed in the novel might exist. கம்ப்ளீட்டா அது இருக்காதுன்னு சொல்ல முடியாது. அது மாதிரி இருக்கிறதுக்கு பாசிபிலிட்டிஸ் இருக்கு. ஆனா உண்மையை சொல்லணும்னா அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு இடம் இல்லை. How many journeys were made by Lemuel Gulliver? There were 4 journeys which were made. Are you there, teachers? 4 journeys which were made. And now you find that who is Lemuel Gulliver? Lemuel Gulliver is an English surgeon, but an unsuccessful English surgeon. And this man, enna pandறாரு, he is quite unhappy with his life of a surgeon in his hometown of Nottinghamshire, England. So he decides to travel abroad. So he decides to travel abroad. அப்ப அவரு travel பண்ணி போகும்போது whatever he observed, okay, he files it in the form of a novel. So இந்த நாவலை எந்த கேட்டகரியில வைப்போம்? It's a kind of travelogue. It's a mock travelogue. என்ன கேட்டகரியில வைப்போம் டீச்சர்ஸ்?
Mock travelogue.
It's a mock travelogue. Okay, very good. Now the characters பத்தி இங்க போட்டிருக்கேனா? Did I mention the characters somewhere? I must check out. Okay, sometime I do it, sometime I don't make it. Okay, I think I have not put the characters here. Yeah, it's here. Let's get into the characters in Gulliver's Travels. Who is the narrator and the protagonist of the novel? Okay, the protagonist and the narrator of the novel is a man by name Lemuel Gulliver. Who is this man? Abdina, he is a surgeon. He is a English surgeon, but he is quite upset with his business because he was not popular. He was a married man, from a middle class family, but he aspires to do something great in the world. Okay, so he abandons his family, abandons his business to go on an adventurous journey. He goes on an adventurous journey. And during his journey, he goes to 4 different places. All these places, they give him new experiences. Chariya. And the first journey that he makes is to a land called the Lilliputians, the land of Lilliput. Are you the teachers? Are you with me?
Yes,
the first
sir.
journey he makes is to a land of the Lilliputs, the first journey. And what is interesting, it has been made into a movie. You will find that this is a land of tiny creatures, 6-inch tall, tiny creatures, 6 inch. But though they are small in size, the problem that they are facing with is something big. Okay, you will find a lot of funny things there. Okay, a lot of funny things. I'll describe it when we get into the actual part 1 of the novel. Yeah, you will have Lilliput on one side, and their enemies are Blefuscu, another small island. Okay, and the island, in the island, the size of Lemuel Gulliver creates a lot of lot of black humor in the story also. We will discuss it in detail. இவன் அந்த லேண்ட்ல போயிட்டு when he falls down, how the people take him as a slave, and how he tries to befriend the Lilliputians, and how the Lilliputians try to use Lemuel Gulliver to bring down Blefuscu, their enemies. And what is the difference of opinion that Lilliputians and Blefuscans had? It is how to break an egg. The big sideல உடைக்கிறதா இல்ல ஸ்மால் சைடு உடைக்கிறதா, அந்த மாதிரி ரொம்ப சில்லியான விஷயத்தை வச்சு அவங்களுக்குள்ள ஐடியாலஜிக்கல் ரிஃப்ட் இருக்கும். அந்த ஐடியாலஜிக்கல் ரிஃப்ட் வந்து சும்மாலாம் சொல்லல. இங்கிலாந்துல there were such silly rifts between people. அதை காட்டுறதுக்காக தான், அதை ஃபன் பண்றதுக்கு தான் என்ன பண்ணியிருக்காரு, he has created an imaginary tale. Then he goes to another land. It is to a land of giants, where Lemuel Gulliver becomes a very tiny creature. And there you will find that the emperor of the Brobdingnag, he is listening to Gulliver, and Gulliver speaks very high about his land, about warfare, about his political ideology. And after listening to all these things, the king of the Brobdingnag, he feels that this particular race, the race of Lemuel Gulliver, is one of the worst race in the world, because it is so tiny, but it is so notorious in killing people, in spreading war and Okay, chaos in the world. அதை பற்றியெல்லாம் நிறைய டிஸ்கஷன்ஸ் இருக்கும். இங்கிலீஷ் ரேஸை பற்றி, இங்கிலீஷ் ரேஸுடைய அந்த கலோனியல் ஆட்டிடியூடை பற்றி, இம்பீரியல் ஆட்டிடியூடை பற்றி ஒரு பயங்கரமான சட்டில் கிரிட்டிசிசம் இருக்கும். And then he will escape from there and he will get into another place called Laputa. What is Laputa அப்படின்னா, it is a flying island, floating island. He ends up in a floating island. அந்த floating islandக்கும் தரையில இருக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு ஐலண்டுக்கும், the floating island is the ideology. அந்த ideologists என்ன பண்ணுவாங்க, they try to control the so called real land. How ideologists control ஆர்டினரி பீப்புள் அப்படிங்கிறத பத்தி ஒரு அழகா எழுதியிருப்பாரு அந்த ஒரு ஜேர்னி டு லாபுட்டால. தென் த லாஸ்ட் ஜேர்னி இஸ் the journey to Hornums. Hornum is the land of thinking horses. It's a race of intelligent horses. And அந்த landல பாத்தீங்கன்னா you have another creature, a vulgar creature, a human-like creature, but considered to be vulgar and cruel creature. The creature is Yahoo. ஆனா அவங்க என்ன பண்ண மாட்டாங்கன்னா, they don't speak visible, what is it, language which could be comprehended. But Lemuel Gulliver speaks, and Gulliver is seen by Hornums as a speaking Yahoo. And you find that இப்படி இருக்க முன்னாடி இருந்த மூணு பிளேசஸ்ல இருந்துமே இவன் என்ன பண்ணுவான், இனிஷியலா கொஞ்சம் ஹாப்பியா இருந்தாலும் you find Lemuel Gulliver wants to escape from the land. But in Hornums, you will find that he wants to be a slave to his horse master. But because of the problem in the horses, all the horses come together and they plan to eliminate the Yahoos. And since he is also seen as a Yahoo, he has no other go but to escape from the place. Even after escaping from Hornums, after leaving from Hornums, he goes to several places. And then at last he comes to England and he finds it very difficult to stay in the English world. He becomes a kind of, he develops a kind of hatred to human race. His attitude towards human race becomes very, very negative. And he favors to be in the world of Hornums, with the land of horses, where the rules are very few, where horses don't kill others, where horses only live a peaceful life. Okay, அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு இடத்துக்கு போகணும் அப்படின்னு ஆசைப்பட்டாரு. And you find that Jonathan Swift also had a similar idea. What is a similar idea? He started hating human beings. Okay, he is considered to be a man who hated human beings. Did you understand that, teachers?
Yes, sir.
Any questions as of now, teachers? It's called misanthropy. He is called a misanthropist. Who is called a misanthropist in literature? Who is called a misanthropist in literature? Jonathan Swift. He is a misanthropist. Okay, I'm putting it here. A man who hates fellow human beings. A man, a hater, is called misanthropist. Okay, he is a misanthropist. Anthro means the man. Mis means a man who hates human beings. இவனுக்கு human beings பிடிக்காம போனது. And that is reflected by the character Lemuel Gulliver. Shall we get into the work, teachers?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, all the key informations we will try to touch. Okay, now we are getting into part 1. Part 1 is called the journey to which place? What is the name of the place to which he travels first?
Lilliputians.
It's the land of Lilliput. It's called the land of the Lilliput. He is first making a journey to the land of the Lilliput, and that is going to be discussed. Okay, we are going to begin that, and some important informations have to be highlighted. Let's see what are the important informations. Number one, okay, in chapter 1, we find that Lemuel Gulliver introduces himself as the protagonist and the first person narrator. He describes his family. What type of person was he? அப்படிங்கும்போது அவரை பத்தி ஒரு சில கீ இன்ஃபர்மேஷன்ஸ் அவரே சொல்ற மாதிரி இருக்கு. ஏன்னா அப்படின்னா அவருடைய ஃபேமிலியில இருந்து தொடங்குறார் லெமுவல் கலீவா. He says that his father was a minor landlord and he belongs to a place called Northamptonshire. He belongs to a place called Northamptonshire, and you find that Lemuel Gulliver was educated in Emmanuel College, Cambridge, and he was also educated in University of Leiden. What did Lemuel Gulliver study? Medicine, and he became a surgeon. He became a surgeon. Surgeon na nama ipo enna term use pandrom teachers? அதுக்கு என்ன ஸ்டடீஸ் இருக்கணும் சர்ஜன் ஆகுறதுக்கு? MBBS is common doctor. அதுக்கு மேல ஒரு படிப்பு இருக்கே, MS. So he has become MS. Okay, and he's a surgeon, and he was working from time to time on board various ships. He was working as a surgeon in various ships. But then, okay, in 1699, what did he do? He decided to, okay, leave his profession and go to foreign land because he felt that being inside the land and being a surgeon was not at all profitable. So he decided to board a ship. And this is the most important occasion. He boarded a ship called Antelope, and he decided to, okay, sail for the South Seas. From Bristol, he started a journey towards the South Sea. Particularly, he was moving towards the East Indies. As he was traveling to the East Indies, the ship Antelope was struck by a violent storm. இந்த மாதிரி நிறைய ஸ்ட்ராங் ஸ்டோரிஸ்லாம் இருக்கும். புயல், ஒரு பெரிய புயல்ல அது மாட்டிக்கொண்டது. And what happened? Because of the storm, the ship was wrecked. There are no information about others, but Gulliver escapes and finally manages to swim to a land where he soon falls asleep. When he wakes up, he is unable to move because he is tied down to the ground by very tiny threads. அவர் என்ன பண்றாரு? மூவ் பண்ணலாம்னு பார்க்கும்போது he feels that there are many tiny creatures moving on his body. And when he closely observes, those are human figures. அவன் மேல நடந்துகிட்டு இருந்ததெல்லாம் யாரு? They are human figures. And what is the size of those creatures?
6 inch.
They are 6-inch tall creatures. Quite funny, right? To have 6-inch tall creatures moving all over you. இந்த மாதிரி ரொம்ப இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங்கா ஃபன்னியான இன்ஃபர்மேஷன்ஸ் நிறைய இங்க வச்சிருப்பாரு. ஓகே, ஆர் யூ தேர் டீச்சர்ஸ்?
Yes, sir.
ஓகே, தென் இப்போ நம்ம இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் ஃபர்தர் போறதுக்கு முன்னாடி I have forgotten to give you some informations. என்னன்னா, this particular work has 2 preface. How many prefaces are there?
2.
Okay. And who is the speaker of the preface? அப்படின்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா, the speaker of the preface is a person by name Richard Simpson. Okay. The preface, அதை பத்தி இங்கே கொடுத்துறேன். Okay. Certain things go missing in the material so that it comes into the information. Preface 1. Okay, just a minute. Preface 1 was given by a particular character. Who is the person? Preface 1 is by Richard Simpson, and Richard Simpson actually introduces the book as papers left with him by his friend Lemuel Gulliver. சரியா? அப்ப அவர் தான் பப்ளிஷரா இருக்க போறாரு. அவர் தான் என்ன பண்றாரு அப்படின்னு கேட்டீங்கன்னா, he says, I have some papers with me and the paper was really very interesting. அதனால I thought I could present it to the world. And இந்த பேப்பர் எல்லாம் யார் விட்டுட்டு போனா? இதெல்லாம் யாரு வந்து விட்டுட்டு போனா? Lemuel Gulliver, the friend of Richard Simpson. Okay, and he also adds that he has edited the papers. What are the things that he edited? Richard Simpson எதெல்லாம் எடிட் பண்ணாரு அப்படின்னு கொஸ்டின் ஒருவேளை கேட்டாங்கன்னா, he states that he has edited some important informations. What are the important informations? He has edited out passages about sea travel. ரொம்ப எக்ஸாஸ்டிவா sea travel பத்தி லெமுவர் கலிவர் எழுதி வைத்திருந்தார். அது ரொம்ப போரிங்கா இருக்கும், அதனால அதை கட் பண்ணிட்டேன். ரெண்டாவது, geographical information இருந்தது, and I have cut down those geographical information. Okay, are you there, teachers?
Yes, sir.
Okay, geographical information sir cut பண்ணிட்டேன், but certain needed informations regarding geographical locale have been added. Why did I add it? அப்படின்னா தேவையில்லாத எடுத்தேன், தேவையானது வச்சேன். In order to make this work appear as a true travel narrative. It's a technique adopted by Jonathan Swift. ஓகே, தேவையில்லாத ஒரு எடிட் பண்ணேன்னு சொல்லும்போது தேவையான ஒரு சில ஜியோகிராபிக்கல் இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் மட்டும் வச்சிருக்காரு. அப்படிங்கும்போது ஒரிஜினல் ஜியோகிராபிக்கல் இன்ஃபர்மேஷன், இப்போ வெஸ்ட் இண்டீஸ் அவர் போறாரு, ஈஸ்ட் இண்டீஸ் போறாரு, இப்போ இந்த இடத்துக்கு போறாரு, அந்த இடத்துக்கு போறாரு அப்படின்னு ஒரிஜினல் ஜியோகிராபியில இருக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு சில பிளேசஸ் மென்ஷன் பண்ணும்போது, this work appears to be a real work by a real life person. So it's a make believe work done by Jonathan Swift. Did you understand how the preface 1 goes?
Yes, sir.
The second preface is a letter dated 1727, written by Gulliver to Simpson. என்ன அப்படின்னு கேட்டீங்கன்னா, this particular letter is actually expressive of, it is particularly expressive of the anger of Gulliver to Simpson for editing his book. For editing the book. என்ன அப்படின்னு கேட்டீங்கன்னா, இந்த புக்ல நம்ம சிம்சன் என்ன பண்ணியிருக்காரு அப்படின்னு சொன்னீங்கன்னா, ஒரு சில பேசேஜஸ ரிமூவ் பண்ணிட்டு ஒரு சில பேசேஜஸ் அவருக்கு தேவையான விஷயங்களை அவரு என்ன பண்ணியிருக்காரு, இன்க்ளூட் பண்ணியிருக்கிறாரு. பர்டிகுலர்லி எந்த செக்மெண்ட் அவர் இன்க்ளூட் பண்ணியிருக்காருன்னு கலிவர் கோவப்படுறாரு அப்படின்னு கேட்டீங்கன்னா, there are in part 4, what is the in which section did he added some information? சொல்லுங்க பார்க்கலாம். Simpson happened to add some passages in the 4th book as to Gulliver praising Queen Elizabeth to people in Honans. இது வந்து நீ பண்ண பெரிய தப்பு, அது பண்ணியிருக்க கூடாது அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு யார் சொல்றா? கலிவர் வந்து தன்னுடைய ஃப்ரெண்ட் ரிச்சர்ட் சிம்சனை கடிந்து கொள்வதை போல ஒரு லெட்டர் இருக்கு. Did you understand that, teachers? He was angry because நீங்க மற்றதை எடிட் பண்ணது ஓகே, but you have added something to praise the queen, and I in fact did not speak about the queen to the people in the land of Honums. அந்த ஹார்சஸ், அந்த ஹார்ஸ் மாஸ்டர் கிட்ட நான் குவீனை பத்தி பெருசா இது புகழ்ந்து பேசலையே. I respect the queen, but I don't adore the queen. But you have done something wrong and I am angry with you அப்படின்னு அந்த preface 2ல யாரு சொல்ற மாதிரி எழுதி இருக்கிறாரு? ஜானதன் ஸ்விஃப்ட்.
Gulliver சொல்ற மாதிரி.
Yeah, and Simpson is blamed for false informations. Has been charged with including false information. Okay, now we move on to the again chapter 1. Chapter 1 is to the land of the Lilliputs. Okay, the land of the Lilliput. Okay, Lilliput, what is the size of the people in Lilliput?
6 inch.
6 inch.
Yeah, 6 inch tall. The land of the Lilliput. Journey to the Lilliput. அப்படிதான் bookல இருக்கும் title. Okay, so he is going to the land of the Lilliputins, and here it is 6 inch tall people. Okay, then what is special about them? அப்படின்னு கேட்டீங்கன்னா, you find that these people have actually taken him as their prisoner. Okay, though they were small in size, what did the Lilliputans try to do with Gulliver? Gulliver was a large, giant-like structure, but these people, they were trying to control him. Okay, they were trying to control him. And what did he do? Because they have tied him, he tried to speak to them and he tried to explain to them, but it is of no use, because when he started speaking, it appeared to be a very loud roar to them, and they started pelting arrows on him, which was no more than the size of a pin. நம்ம அந்த ஷர்ட்ல எல்லாம் பின்னு குத்துறோம்ல, சின்ன பின், and it was slightly pricking him and it was disturbing him. And at last there was a great lord who appeared from among the group. அவருடைய ட்ரெஸ்ஸிங் சென்ஸ் எல்லாம் பார்த்தோன்னே இவருக்கு தெரிஞ்சிருச்சு கலிவருக்கு என்ன அப்படின்னா, இவர் தான் அந்த ஏரியால பெரிய ஆளு. Okay, so you find that this particular people, who is the name of the man? The name of the person who came to talk to Gulliver was a person by name Hergo. Hergo means a great lord. He made a long, lengthy speech which Gulliver did not understand. And you find that the people, they understood that this man was hungry, so they gave him food and wine. And after taking that, he slept. And they used a system of pulleys. Okay, and they prepared a frame, and 15,000 horses were employed to actually transport this man from the seashore to the capital city. எவ்வளவு ஹார்சஸ் பயன்படுத்தினாங்களாம்? 1,500 horses that were used to pull him into the city, and then he was lodged in an abandoned temple, and the emperor and the principal lords of the court and over 1 lakh other people came to see him. This is in chapter 1. Are you following the story? Everyone was astonished to see their size. And in this section, you will find that Gulliver was all in praise for the people of Lilliput's mathematical skill and engineering skill. ஏன்னா அவங்க பக்காவா கால்குலேட் பண்ணி அவனுக்கு ஒரு ஸ்லெட்ஜ் மாதிரி செஞ்சு அதுக்கு வீல் எல்லாம் செஞ்சு அவனை தூக்கி அதுல உள்ள மேல அவனை படுக்க வச்சு அப்படியே என்ன பண்ணாங்க, கட்டின பொசிஷன்ல அவனை என்ன பண்ணாங்க, they were pulling him into the capital city. So he started appreciating their engineering skills. Are you there, teachers? So you will find a contrast there. The people, Lilliputans, were very tiny, whereas Gulliver was very, very tall. It also shows about the perspective. The perspective of Gulliver was rather very broad, and the perspective of the Lilliputans was very, very narrowed. ரொம்ப குறுகலான பார்வை அவங்களுக்கு இருந்தது, இவருக்கு விசாலமான பார்வை இருந்தது. Okay, for them, okay, they are normal, குட்ட பசங்க. ஆனா அவங்க பொறுத்தவரை நாங்களாம் ரொம்ப நல்லவங்க. ஆனா அவன் வந்து he is a normal human being, but in their viewpoint he was a giant. Did you understand the concept, teachers?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we have come to the end of this first segment. Okay, it's quite long.